What's up everyone, welcome back to a new video on the AlienAlgo channel. Today we'll be going over the markets again per usual, and we'll be having a little bit of an announcement. As you guys should have seen, I have been inactive for a while in terms of the social media. Of course we have been trading in the backgrounds. What have I really been doing? I was building a Discord behind the back. Why? I quite literally hate Twitter. Why? It has limitations in terms of what I can post and in terms of how much text I can provide with a post. With this, we also get that the moment sometimes I post a chart and then I, for example, say, okay, I am expecting it to trade into here and then start rolling over. So now I think in my mind, I have announced to you what will happen. So I have called it, right? But then I go back to my profile and the post is deleted. And this is like the minute I post it, right? So it's almost like I'm shadow banned. With that, it's almost impossible for me to help you guys using Twitter. Why? Because some of my posts just get removed out of nowhere without me even touching them. So with that, I decided to open a Discord because here I can go in more detail. Plus, I can clearly map things out, right? I can also ping guys like with add everyone and those sort of things, which makes it way easier for me to actually have conversations with you guys and see what you guys are doing right, what you guys are doing wrong, and how we can improve, right? So with that rambling out of the way, the Discord link will be posted down below. My main focus will be going to that Discord. I will make weekly videos again, so this is kind of like a comeback video as well, where I will make one video a week where we recap the week in terms of BTC, ETH, and stocks. This will be published on YouTube, but my focus in terms of a daily basis will be going to that Discord. So if you guys want to have conversations with me, ask me any questions, make sure to check the link below. There will be a free part. There also, of course, is a paid part. The paid part is $44 a month, with 10% being donated to charity. Of course, I will be first saving up those $4 because if we just do the math, it's a 44. Well, it's not there. It's $44 a month, 10% going to charity. What is this? $4 a month. Of course, I can't go to a charity and say, okay, here's $4, right? So I will save these up, like those $4, like when it comes to a point where I am able to donate it. And this, of course, will fully be provided with proof because I don't want to be a bitch and I am fearful of God anyways. So with that, this $4 a month, so 10% of the entire amount will be shared to charity. So with that shit out of the way, the Discord link will be right below. But for now, let's get into the charts. As you can see, I've already reset the charts. What we were looking at previously, we were looking at this range where we said I want to see acceptance above this, otherwise I deem this to be bearish. Why? We have a clear compression happening where we already took out the low by now. Then you get a lower high. If we were able to push above this, then there would be really an incisive to trade it back towards those highs. We did not, right? We clearly rejected from this area. And we ended up rolling down, giving a clear sweep of this level, and later we pick this 1, 2, and 3. What do I mean with 1, 2, 3? Where price trades, makes a wick, starts going up a little bit, takes the wick, reclaims it. Right? This is one of the patterns I really love to play, where we wait for a big wick to be made. We wait. Here we now have the big wick. We take it, we reclaim it, and we hold it, right? This is that play. So here we were bullish again. After this, what was the target? The high. What happened? We swept the high and fully got smashed down. So what are we doing right now again? Just look at this, boys and girls. I don't know who is watching, of course, so I would assume boys and girls. Right? What do we have here? We make a wick, we sweep it, we reclaim it, we retest that shit. Right? So here we were bullish again. But until when were we bullish? As you can see, this black line right here, this is the anchored VWAP. This can be found on your chart right here. Within my Discord, there's a full deep explanation explaining my day-to-day basis strategy using these anchored VWAPs. I use them in a different style than I will be showing in this video. So if you want to check this out, make sure to join that Discord and search for those lessons. This part is added in the free area, by the way, this day-to-day basis strategy. So again, this pattern, what do we see? We see the wick being made, we see price moving up, we see it taking the wick, we see it retesting it. This is that level to be bullish, guys. So from this point, what do we know? We have this currently as that new all-time high, right? When we swept this, now this is your all-time high. So what do we know? Here, based on volume, we can get an anchored VWAP. What is a VWAP? Volume weighted average price. So it already tells you it's the average price based on volume. So where have the sellers and buyers agreed upon price? Which is right here. This is what we currently have got rejected from. So again, we've traded it into this VWAP right here. So from this point, I shared I would be de-risking some of my longs right here. Early in the morning, the same, of course, went for ETH, where this, we clearly had a rejection, full rotation back down towards those lows. So what should we be looking at right now? We had the sweep right here. This we want to reclaim, which is stacked with that anchored VWAP coming from the high. So I've already drawn it right here. This will be that box to look at acceptance from. Why? Also was a prior high here, prior low here, prior low here, where that reversion came from. Right? So this really is a crucial point to flip, which is also why we were expecting this to become resistance. So as long as you're trading below this, I deem this to be choppy, right? Where we can test the lows, we can break, but in general, we would be expecting it to chop. This I call no man's land. Here, we can look to sell towards the highs. Here, we can look to buy, right? Where we will be playing those extremes. So from here, we can look for sells to the downside. From here, we can look for buys to the upside. But what did I just note? For here, you're bearish as long as you're trading below this point. So what does that mean? If we manage to push through this level, I will be looking to buy here. Yep, weird, huh? I just told you I will be looking for sells here. But like I'm telling you, if we do this, now there's a full incisive to be buying here, expecting it to rally into this. Right? So these will be those levels I am currently looking at. So cautionally bullish. I'm not maximum bullish here, but if we just look at this, this is a classic reversal, right? As we've seen here. So it could literally be that we are just in a similar situation to this, right? Where we move, we chop below resistance, and later we push through it. So then, where will we be wanting to enter? On that break, right? So if it shows us a proper break around this point, this would make me bullish. Until then, I would more be expecting it to take some sort of lows, right? Where we perhaps do this, get sent up, continue to chop, maybe touch those lows. But overall, I would rather be waiting for these highs to be broken or for this to show a rotation back down or the retest of those lows. So looking at a macro perspective, these will be those plays I am looking at. So keep that in mind. So that was it for BTC. Now let's first start with stocks. Of course, had this little violation, but I'm still majorly bullish on stocks. When we just analyze this, we've already drawn the circle here. We quite literally see some upwards compression. What did I tell you guys before? How can we have a compression? We can have a compression sideways, right, where it's like almost exactly sideways, like shown here. We can also have a compression like this, where we really just trading a channel. How can this also look? Where we clearly have a compression, we later end up breaking it, right? These are the sort of compressions we are looking for. So now that I've dumbed it down, you see it. Of course, now I have a magnet on, but we quite clearly see it is compressing here. What is that key pivotal point? This high, right? Why? This is where we started the sell-off, and we've rejected from it today. So if we see this, then we would be looking to see some more bullish price action. Until then, we are just chopping. Yeah, it's really not that hard. It's really just chop. So for stocks, I still see a clear uptrend. I don't know why people are really calling like, oh, this top, but no, it's really not. It still is looking really good for stocks. When we look at the Nas, it's also still clearly chopping. When we look at the Dow Jones, it's even in a cleaner compression. I mean, just look at this. Here we see a very clean compression. So now let's go on to ETH, because I do think most people on my channel and on my Discord and Twitter really don't give a shit about stocks. So when we look at ETH, what have we seen in the past? The thing I've stated in the last video I've made, I am not bullish on BTC, I am bullish on ETH. Okay, a hard, bold statement to make, right? But when did I say this? This was right here. Right here. Now look back. What really happened? BTC chopped and dropped. ETH chopped up. Right? We went up. No chopping. Well, we had some chopping, but a clear impulse up when we just compare it to BTC. Just look at this relative, and I will be going into the ETH BTC and BTCD chart in a bit. But first, we will be starting at ETH. So we were more bullish on ETH. This thesis remains for me. The last week, I was more bullish on BTC, which ended up being a good play when we look at this bottom forming versus this still at the lows. So I do think it is switching back again, where ETH will be outperforming. So it already did it this morning, but then we rotated back down. But ETH was the outperformer today, and I expect them to outperform BTC again in the upcoming weeks. But for ETH, we quite clearly see this is the current high, right? So this is a level we would want to respect right now. So the second point is this. Right here, we have multiple days being traded below this level. Where was this? This little stop where we later retested it. Right, we are clearly compressing. So the theme of today is compression, guys. Just know that. So we have the high, we have the low. What will we be looking at? Perhaps to sweep this low, trade it into the high. A second scenario, this is quite close. This could also be a thing. So when do we enter in knowing these are the two scenarios? If we would enter here and this scenario goes, we get fucked, right? So which point do we want to be buying in either scenario? The reclaim. Why? Because let's say we sweep this and we don't, and we do this, and you enter and we end up doing this, you get fucked. Now, if you would have just waited for that reclaim, yes, okay, you've left this in terms of profit, but you have a better win rate, right? Because here we have more conviction of it really going up. Why? Because it reclaimed here. If we just enter on this sweep without seeing the reclaim and it just rolls back down, you're fucked, right? So we only enter on the reclaim. This is a little bit more in depth, but this is really key. It sounds really stupid, but it is really a good thing when you study it. So going back into this, these would be the scenarios looking at the downside, and then where will we be de-risking here? So until then, we're just chopping, right? So what do we know? We want to be buying here, we want to be selling here. When this gets flipped, now we would want to be buying at this area, right? So these would be those current points for me to look at, where this is most likely just a compression. How do compressions tend to look? We tend to compress and at the end take the low before we get sent up. So then what do we have? We have the exact same setup as we've drawn here or here. And then again, where do we enter? On the reclaim. So if I were to dumb this down, if we get a retest, we buy expecting it to trade into here, selling it here, right? Expecting a rotation back down. This is what you should be playing until it breaks. Just buy those lows, sell at the highs, rotate it back down, right? This is what we should be doing unless it starts flipping here, right? So I wanted to go a little bit more in depth in this video, so I hope I've explained this concept of finding the acceptance above and below with a bit more detail. So remember, these videos will be made on a weekly basis, but my main focus will be going to the Discord. When we look back at ETH BTC, yeah, beauty. What do we again see? Up move, compress, up move, compress, up move, compress. Now we again see those different ways of compressing. Complete sideways, downwards. But you quite clearly see that it is respecting a trend on both sides. This is your compression, guys. Right? But this is also a compression. Here, again, we have a compression. This is also a triangular form. So, compressions, you guys need to study. This is a concept I've already explained in the Discord, and I will most likely be repeating that. So, yeah, ETH, BTC, really fucking great. What should we be holding? Prior high, right? If we hold this, then there will be an decisive to look back to the highs. If we end up rolling below this, then what do we have, guys? If I were to tell you again the 1, 2, 3, what do we want? A big wick. We trade it into the other way. We take the wick. We find acceptance back below. Then we would have like a bearish pattern, right? So if we do this, you're fucked. Well, you're not fucked, but you will see downside on ETH, right? But if we hold this, then it is all good. So this is that point to look at for ETH BTC. Of course, if you're fully in alts, this is the only chart you really should be looking at. Because if this goes up, you will make money. If this goes down, you will most likely be losing money. So ETH BTC, very important chart if you are fully allocated to alts. So these points again to look at. So BTCD, what we're looking at, yeah, it's almost scary how perfectly this has followed my path. Yeah, we were looking at the acceptance below this point, where I stated it really would not be weird to retest that shit, right? And this is exactly what we have got. We compressed here a little bit, and we currently went fully into those range extensions. So I do think it could be quite logical to see some sort of retest again on BTCD. Since why? We are seeing a clear compression again. And a clear compression is something, yeah, we will be expecting an impulse either side. Like right here, we have a compression. What will we be looking at? To break the highs or to break the lows, right? That is what a compression does. So now we have a new compression here. Where's those highs? I will even copy this box and put it right there. So we quite clearly see that current compression being made. That if we find acceptance back above this, we should be seeing some sort of impulse move towards the upside. Find acceptance below this, we should see an impulse towards the downside. So these will be those points to look at for the entire market. Since I've been away for a while, I wanted to make this video a little bit longer, and I also had to explain the Discord, of course. So with all of that having said, guys, I hope you liked today's video. If there's something you guys want me to add into these videos or perhaps change with the videos, make sure to let me know. And if you have interest in the Discord, I would love to see you guys there, whether you will be joining the free edition or the paid edition. That's entirely up to you. So with that having said, guys, Alien out.